It's a personnel problem for Graham Potter, Frank, that's just been made worse, as Craig said, with those early injuries in this game. We saw in the stands, though, ahead of the game, Benoit Badiashile, a defender. Obviously, they need someone scoring the goals for them at the moment. But what more can you tell us about this player?
Well, he's a young player. He's fast, he's strong, he has a great future. But as you say, he's not a striker, and it's what Chelsea needs right now. And but he's a great future. He signed until 2030, so it says a lot about the future that the club wants to bet on him, and that's a very good signing. He's a very good player. He did very well with Monaco, and I'm pretty sure his future with the Blues would be bright because he's very, very talented. I think Chelsea is preparing the retirement at some point from Thiago Silva. I don't know when it's gonna happen, but I think Badiashile, and Fofana are the future after Koulibaly and Thiago Silva will retire.
It's a bit worrying when you're going to be prepared. Well, you know, he's got this season left, Thiago Silva. I would imagine he's going to get at least another year, but it's a little worrying when he's still your best player. If you take him out of this side, you know, it's hard to see how this back four would be able to operate without his sort of leadership qualities. And yes, it's all very well buying for the future, and I understand that, but there's a manager here who needs some assistance, and obviously he's going to hope that he gets that from injured players coming back. Mason Mount was another one. It wasn't available today. But I just worry about the road this consortium are going down at the moment with this manager and where it's all going to end, because it's a worrying time for sure.
Yeah, when it comes to this January transfer window, though, one player that has been a top priority is Enzo Fernandez. It seems that Chelsea have angered Benfica coach, though, Roger Schmidt, who said this is a club that wants him. They tried to attract him, but they know they can only have him if they pay the clause. It's disrespectful to all of us, to Benfica. They're driving the player crazy. They pretend they want to pay the clause, and then they want to negotiate. So Schmidt had said, you know, the release clause is understood to be 120 million euros. Chelsea have maintained that they don't want to overpay and will walk away if a deal cannot be made. It all seems a little bit chaotic, their transfer policy at the moment.
Well, I can't comment on their strategy in that front, but one of the things they might be trying to do is if they don't want to pay the release clause, is unsettle the player. And then it becomes a game of bluff in terms of how unhappy is Enzo Fernandez, how far does he push that, and are Benfica then willing to buckle? Which I would imagine from that statement, although that's not from ownership, I would imagine the answer is probably that Benfica are not willing to buckle below that price, particularly for a youngster who's so talented and a recent World Cup winner. So I think Chelsea will have to pay.
The trouble with this is, and while I just sorry, Frank. While I do sympathise with what Roger Schmidt is saying there, every single club does it, and while he's absolutely right. I'm sure Benfica have been guilty of it in the past. We will continue to have these conversations, and to that point, if I'm Chelsea, I know what the release clause is, but we're still the 5th of January, first week of January. I've got the whole month to go. I'm trying to negotiate, and again, that's just business. That's not that's nothing kind of untoward or unheard of. This will have a long way to go yet, and again, he's signed to Benfica. They can manage that situation as best they can if they're determined to have the full exit clause paid. They say that to Enzo Fernandez, and they make sure he understands that, and that's it. That's how these transfers always happen nowadays.
Frank?
Yeah, I think we talked about it. Yes, Enzo Fernandez is a future talent and he's absolutely a fantastic player already. But he has 2 years of experiences in the top level, and we are talking about 130 million. We're not talking about 20, 30, 40. And Chelsea already spent lots of money, not at some point, you know, and sometimes, you know, in nice way when I'm talking about Cucurella for 70 million. But when you have Zakaria on loan from Juventus and you see the kind of game that he can have in the middle of the park, you know that you have Kovacic, you know that you have Chukwuemeka, who can give a lot to the club. Do you have to spend 130 million to a player who has a bright future but doesn't give you 100% insurances that it's going to work? And on top of it, where is your target? Where do you have to improve your squad? Do you really think it's in the middle of the park that you have to do that? No, it's in the front. If you have to spend 130 million at some players, you can have maybe a very good striker for that price. So is it a good option? I don't know. Maybe, but I'm not sure it's the priority for the club.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.